Hello and welcome, Zevlin here. Today, let's play some Banished. Now this is a game that came out a while ago, and I did play quite a bit. Um, it was, the vanilla version was fairly light, and what I mean is there's not a lot to do. Once you kind of got to a point where you could win, all you were doing was kind of filling the map, sort of. With that said, this is a town building game, basically, where you are trying to survive. It's a little bit of a survival game, a little bit town management, things like that. Now, they did open up recently, a couple months ago, some mod support, and one of the best mods I've found so far is called Colonial Charter. Now, they just came out with their Iron Curtain version. I played the previous version, but this one adds tons more buildings. So much more buildings, and it's not just you have 3 resources and you can build all the things right off the bat. Now, you have to build certain resources to build, say, one of the things I know about is rope. And with rope, you can build a lot of the late game buildings. So your kind of early game is setting up a colony, making it sustainable, survivable, and then you can start producing things like rope and using those to build even better buildings and so on and so forth. So with that said, let's go ahead and jump in. Let's go with a new game. Redwood Moor. Sounds good to me. Now I'm going to go ahead and go with the mountains terrain type, just for a little bit of challenge. I'm going to have a large terrain size. I'm going to leave the climate on fair. Harsh is a little harsh. I mean, it's not so bad. I don't know. It's definitely a challenge. And I'm going to start with the starting conditions of hard. Basically, they start with nothing. So that is pretty difficult, but I think I can do it. We'll see. It's been a long time since I've played, so let's jump in. The basic premise of this was, in vanilla, kind of a town builder sort of thing. There was no real story behind what was happening, and now they've kind of added this little colonial twist to it. I'm not real sure what that completely entails. We'll kind of find out as we go. Let's go ahead, and as we can see, we have adults and children, and the thing is, we just need to keep growing our colony. So let's take a quick look around at our starting place here. This is not too shabby. I kind of like this so far. So what? Yeah, let's get going. So the first thing I need to do is kind of set up my UI. And I like how fluid the UI is. You can kind of do what you want with it. You can leave it completely bare like this. I like to have a few things up. Like, I really like this just basic information screen up so that I can know what I have. And as you can see, I only start with 1,200 food, a few tools, and a few clothes, so that we're going to run out of this stuff pretty fast, so we really have to get going start-wise. I like this event log up, so I can kind of see what's going on around quickly. There's this mini-map, but I don't really like using that, especially early game. This professions thing comes in very handy, though. I love having this open, because I like to tinker with who's laborers, who's builders. We're going to start off with like 3 builders, and as you'll probably find out pretty fast, as I like to mess with that number, I'll probably be pumping up the builders once I have some resources available. There is one more thing, and I always have a hard time finding it. Here it is, resource limits. Now, I don't need this up all the time, but I don't like to cap my resources at first. Basically what happens is, say, if they run out, if they cap this, let's say we have a forester's hut, which gathers logs, and we hit this cap, they'll stop working, and they will go and be laborers for a little while, which is handy for several different reasons. They don't, just keep pumping out resources you don't need, but I find I don't really like it capped early. I just want to build as much as possible, and I may alter this a bit later for different reasons, but I'd rather just pump it way up for now and then leave it alone. Just take it off, not even see it anymore. Okay, well, what should we build first? Now this is the question. It's kind of kind of a difficult little thing here. So the first thing I think I need is a gatherer's hut. The reason why, these things are pretty powerful. I'm going to build this right here. See how the circle kind of have kind of the maximum area of resources it can gather. Now they pretty much only gather from the woods, but we're going to alleviate that later. As you can see down just a little bit to the south, there's not woods there, but there's a building I'm going to build that's going to fix that later. I'm just not going to build it yet. I'm going to build that there. I'm also going to build a storage barn, like, right next to it, so that it has a place to dump food and it can be fast and efficient. I will also need to tell my people to start gathering resources. And they will need somewhere to put these resources. So let's put down a stockpile. Here, stockpile. Now, the Colonial Charter adds specialized stockpiles and stuff. I'm not 100% sure what I really want to do with those. I mean, there may be some sort of thing to do to, you know, have certain resources in certain places. But early on here, I'm just going to go with the normal stockpile, just for them to be able to put things down. Now let's go ahead and unpause this. And I'm going to go ahead and go up to speed 5. Let's get these people going. The reserve of tools is low. I know that. It starts low. I'm going to very quickly have to start building houses and firewood and tools and all sorts of stuff. This is a very quick start. As you can see, there's the remove feature. They have to remove anything in the way first, and there's 7 things in the way. Then they start dumping resources on it, and then they have to build it up to 45. So that's basically each tick it does one. So each builder that you have assigned to it can build 1 tick per second or something like that. And different buildings have different numbers. Like this one takes 60. I should probably pause this. I really do want the gatherer's hut up first, and this can follow closely behind it. Now, I really like the UI. I think it's very slick. Look, I can just like do this. Look, and I just have these things anywhere I want them, anytime I want. So I can keep certain things up, like the stockpile, and just keep it up to know what's there at all times. I mean, it's pretty nice. Now, obviously, since I only have the 1 stockpile, it's going to very closely represent these things here. Come on, builders. There we go. Now it has all the resources it needs. Now the builders just actually have to physically go over there and do it. So I'm going to bump this, actually, I'm going to bump this up to 6 builders and only a few gatherers, because I think it's that important. I have some resources now. Now there's going to be 4 gatherers here, or laborers here, to gather resources, but very quickly. Now, I can do this in both places. Now, this list is a little unwieldy, so I do like to use this if I happen to know where the building is. But sometimes I don't really want to go around from building to building looking for it or whatever, so I can use this over here, and it does the same thing, as you can see. So I'm going to go ahead and go up to 4 gatherers. I really think it's that important to really just start grabbing as much food as possible. Alright, let's unpause that barn. Get to work on that. Now I do kind of want to have tabs on this. Now I'm curious, I can't build a road over this, I don't think. Flatten. Brick road. Stone road. Can I build a road over this? I cannot. What is this? The reserve of logs is low. Yeah, that's... How can I build a tunnel? I cannot. So there's going to be no transportation back and forth over this area. It's not exactly optimal, but I think we can deal with it. Now, maybe... What is this? Stone Plaza, straight. Stone Plaza, triangle. I don't even know what that word is. Yeah, I don't know what this stuff is. That's something to be played with later. So right now, we're just waiting on our builders to actually build this thing, which they don't seem to want to do. Do I not have enough stones? There's not very many stones. They are gathering still. Okay, let's go back down from having so many builders. I think they may be running out of resources. Now this is a long distance to be traveling. I don't like it. Should go ahead and lay out some houses as well. They need to really get on that. So I think I need 5 houses to start to have houses for everybody. So let's go ahead and lay out 5 houses. Alright, we're starting to get some mushrooms in the storage barn. That is good. Now we definitely need these houses next. Alright, builders. Alright, builders. Now the thing with houses, you need obviously enough to house your people, but it's not like, let's say a mom and dad live in this house and they have a bunch of kids, like 5 kids. It's not like those kids are just gonna get kicked out of the house with nowhere to live. You actually have to build new houses for those kids to move out, and then they match up in breeding pairs with other people from other houses, and then they have kids. So there's a little bit of population control mechanic involved there, where you want to slowly ramp up your population over time. You don't want to go in large spikes, because what happens is kind of like the, I don't know how many people are familiar with this, but there's this baby boomer thing that happened in the United States. I think it happened worldwide actually too, but I'm not 100% sure on that. Where there's, right after World War II, there's a huge population boom. And so that population is now getting older, and there's so many and there's so few younger people to support that population. And then when they go, there's going to be so much, there's just going to be an economic collapse, sort of. Not so much collapse, but just it's not going to be able to, there's not going to be enough people for all the jobs, basically. And this happens in this game a lot. So what happens is, you say we have 12 people right now, and let's say we have no kids. So we have no kids, and suddenly those 12 people start dying off, and there's no kids growing up to replace those people. Suddenly you don't have any laborers, and you have to start, if you want things, labor things to be done, you have to start taking people off being builders or gatherers or whatever, and then eventually you start running out of food because you don't have enough people to gather the food and make the tools and everything else. And it can really go into this vicious kind of spiral. Now what does happen is all those people, then as people die, people move into the new houses. There's houses open and available, and they'll start having babies, but then you have a bunch of babies to feed and not enough people to feed them, and then when they all grow up, if they survive, then the same thing happens. They're all the same exact age, and they all die at the same time again. And it's just back and forth. So the point is, you got to very, very carefully manage. Go up very slowly and steadily. Alright, with that in mind, I have my houses coming online here. So the next most important thing is a woodcutter. So what this dude does is he cuts firewood. I'm going to plant him right there, right by the houses. It's fine. And right by the stockpile is the more important thing. The reserve of food is low. That's because what happens is people, when they move into their house, they'll go and grab some food. They'll grab things like clothes and herbs and different things that they need. Right now they only have food. They'll grab some firewood and they'll put it in their inventory here. And it's not like if there's no more food left in the stockpile, this house may just be without. Just completely without. So I have everybody in a house now, and they, well, don't all have food. Hopefully that will be solved shortly. Let's Let's see, is there food in this? Oh yeah, there's plenty of food. Well, not plenty. There's some food. And everybody should have food. So now the next thing is they really need firewood. That's what these little cold symbols are above their heads. So, I need firewood, which means I need to actually assign someone to be a firewood cutter. Now, one person should be enough for now. I can't assign more than one, but one should be enough. I can build another one, you know, whatever. And then there's this new cool thing, which is a sawmill, which you can have 3 people working at, which we'll have to explore later, because as you can see, it takes wood, stone, and some unknown thing. I don't even know what that is. So I assume one of these other buildings makes that unknown thing, such as at the beginning I was talking about rope, and you need a ropery to make rope. And there's some buildings that take rope, such as these houses. Let's see, that takes something I don't know what it is. Maybe not, maybe the houses don't take rope anymore. Here we go, log cabins take rope. And, alright, most of the houses have firewood now, I think. They say they're not cold. And it is autumn, so this is actually a fairly decent little start here. Now, another thing I need to do, since I have food, I have firewood, I need tools. Gosh, I'm never going to remember where anything is now. There's so many things. That's gathering, it's town services, food production, resource production, there we go. I need a blacksmith. Where to build the blacksmith? Maybe... No, I don't like that. Maybe like this? Yeah, I think like that. Keep him close to the stockpile so he can grab his stuff fast. Because, like the population, you can go on a little spiral with your tools as well. Now, if you run out of tools, everybody works slower. If everybody's working slower, they don't produce as much, which means you can run out of food and people die, and all that. If you have a blacksmith, he'll make tools, but if he runs out of a tool, he makes tools slower. So you can very quickly run out of tools if you don't stay ahead. I'm dwindling down to 7 tools here. So we need to get this online, which it looks like it should happen pretty fast if I had stone. I actually do not have any stone. That is not good. So let's go ahead and collect stone up here. Let's just collect all the stone in this general area. Clear out some room for my gatherer. I'm gonna very quickly run out of clothes as well. So that's another thing, but that's like kind of a 2-step process. Need to have a hunter to get leather, and also a tailor. So that's gonna be a priority, but not immediate. Alright, I see how they like to walk right here, so I'm going to also build a road. Well, it won't let me build there, huh? I know it won't let me build, but it didn't let me, like, I don't know, kind of cheat. There we go, let's build a road just like that. That'll help them move a little faster. Now, they won't necessarily walk on the road, even though it makes them move a little faster, but once I get some buildings and stuff in the way or whatever, maybe they'll use it, maybe they won't. But if they use it even a little bit, that's going to be a good thing. The reserve of food is low. That is bad. That is not good at all. Now, as we can see, we have people in the house. Like, 10 is actually adulthood. 10 is kind of like 18. I don't know why they went with 10. I don't know. So this guy could move out into his own house. And he could move out with Rena here and start their own family. Or Fedelsha. So there's actually a reason for me to build 2 more houses. think. No, just one, really. So maybe I should do that and get the population to continue to grow steadily? I think so. Just slowly building houses over time is kind of optimal. It's kind of the thing to do. Just throw in a house every once in a while, basically. And I could build houses up here, and in fact, I probably will eventually, so that they don't have to walk. And we can see that by clicking on this and then clicking on a house. And all these people work right here, which is very optimal. That's because they're builders, so they're going to be working everywhere. And then the people who live in this house work all the way up here. And this house too. So what this is telling me is having 2 houses up there would be good. That way people don't have to walk so far. So I may do that eventually. My next couple of houses may be up there. But for right now, I love having just a couple of houses, or a central point of houses so I can build around it. So things are generally close to everything. And I don't have to micromanage where houses are so much. Okay, so that was my last building project. So I'm just about at the point where crude tools or iron tools. They both use wood and iron. Why would I make crude tools? Maybe it's faster to make some crude tools? Let's just start with iron tools. I'm really not sure what crude tools are. Another thing I should probably do is go ahead and clear out this wagon. Where is that? Remove structure. Let's mark the wagon to be removed. They'll move the stuff out of the wagon into a stockpile. Alright, so next I do need a hunter's cabin. But first, I think I want to go ahead and put in a forester's lodge here. Don't like it there. If I built it here, I could build 1 house there. Or here, I could build 2 houses. I think I'm going to do that. Or I may put a stockpile in there, actually. Small stockpile, just so that they don't have to walk so far for all the stuff. Having random little stockpiles in little places is pretty nice. There we go. I think that's the same width as the gatherer's hut there. And with that, I am going to take a break here. Thank you so much for joining me. And remember, if you do like this series and want to see more of it, go ahead and throw me a like. It helps me a ton. And thank you so much for watching. I'll see you next time.